Welcome, welcome, welcome. We don't know about you guys, but we are fired up at this end and we are ready to go. Welcome to the podcast Below the Belt with yours truly, Sherrod Duncan. Sherrod, how do you guys like that? That is my pronunciation for 2022. It's pace and power in 2022. Folks, wherever you're joining us from this afternoon again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Below the Belt. We tell you, this year we taking the gloves off. Whatever is necessary, we go in below the belt. Some people you gotta get on in the mud with them, you know. I got a friend who is who's an attorney. And the person says sometimes with some people you gotta get on in the mud and roll around with them. Folks, welcome. Wherever you guys are joining us from today, we hope that things are better at your end than it is at ours. We got some people to deal with today, folks. We got some people to deal with today. The whole set of crosses, you know, is a whole set of crosses we got to deal with. Is a whole set of them, folks. How's the weather where you guys are? We trust that the weather is fine, and we are so grateful that so many of you guys are joining us for yet another podcast. This is our 18th podcast. We've been at it a little while, folks, and we got more juice in we. We got hundreds to go. We got hundreds to go. Boots on the ground. We ain't backing down. Boots on the ground. We ain't backing down, people. Good to see you guys are out in your numbers as you come. Don't waste time. Share the live stream. Good to see Cameron, Augustus, and Pauline Chalmers. Good to see Siobhan McDonald and Joyanne Hooper Beckles. Good to see Marlon Thomas and Vashti McNaught says it's icy cold. It's very icy where she is there in Canada. Good to see Vashti. Say hello to all the folks in the home circle for us, Vashti. Yvonne McPherson. Good to see you. Dishon Alexander. Good to see you. Seasons. Greetings to each and every one of you. Our guest today, Annette Ferguson, the Honorable Member of Parliament, former Minister of Housing, would say in her own elegant, eloquent way, seasons felicitations. Seasons greetings to one and all, folks. Peace and goodwill towards all men, except Nigel Dharamlall. Except, folks, we're going to be talking a little bit later on in the program in just a few minutes about the Nigel Dharamlall shocking attack on judicial independence. So disrespectful and out of order. Good to see Mark Simmons with us today. Good to see George Annan is here as well. Lennox Anderson. And I see we have Mark Ullman. All of our favorite folks. Carol Jacobs is here as well. Folks, wherever you're joining the podcast from, wherever you are joining us from, let us know. Let us know how the weather is, dear guys. We are so privileged to have each and every one of you. It's pace and power in 2022, and we are gearing down. We gearing up, folks. We gearing up. We gearing up. We gearing up. I'm so happy that we've had some wonderful folks with us, like Devon Hughes and Magnell Barrow and Michelle Jones and Marla Karen Pandey and Sharian Beard and Amabel Clement. All of these beautiful, fantastic folks. Marsha Glasgow and George Annan is here too. Lots of good folks joining the podcast. Folks, we below the belt. We below the belt. We below the belt. We're going to roll around in the mud with some people. We're going to move around in the mud with some people. You know, folks, I love our guest today, Annette Ferguson. Whale into this jagabat. Whale into this trench crapo. But folks, but first, folks, it's 29 degrees in the national capital city where we're joining you guys from. 29 degrees out there. And the guys are telling us that there's a 21% chance of rain this afternoon. We know we've had showers on and off this morning, which makes everything slow. Nonetheless, we are grateful we could have been in some icy weather like our friends up north. We could have been in some icy weather, so I can take the little rain any day. Folks, I was in the diaspora early November. The first week in November, I was in New York, and my God, and the people say I ain't feel nothing yet. you know, you know. The good book tells us that the Almighty God has set the bounds of our habitation. Some of y'all got outside of it, and y'all balling out. Nobody said y'all them places. Some of y'all got outside the bounds of your habitation and y'all balling out now. That being said, folks, make sure that you are dry wherever you are. Make sure you're warm wherever you are. What are you guys having for lunch? What are you all eating? Folks, I'm having such a simple lunch. I'm not difficult to please. One thing my wife could tell you, I ain't difficult to please. You understand me? I'm not difficult. I'm having some simple, I think it's black eyed peas or beans, you guys might say, and some black eyed peas stew. And I'm not having meat, I'm having some sausage and some white rice. Guyanese, we got to give you rice the rest we feed before. I'm having little rice, some uh, black eyed peas stew, and some sausage. It's a 7% meal, folks. It's a 7% meal. It's a things tight meal. It's a things tight meal. Good to see all of you guys who are joining us. Great to see all of you. We're following lots of news and information, which we're going to bring to you a little later on in the evening in the ring program. But just by way of notification, we see, for instance, uh, coming out of Village Voice, telling us that Canada hails Norton's election as PNCR leader. More cocaine. Oh, God, Father, it's a cocaine economy, people. It's a cocaine economy. More cocaine found on Guyana streets. More cocaine found. Folks ain't getting better. It ain't getting better. It's not getting better. It ain't getting better. The Jacobats sin. And when you got people like Nigel Dharamlall to deal with, how we can get better? Folks, today again, we are discussing Nigel Dharamlall's shocking attack on judicial independence, his shocking attack on the judiciary. Disrespectful and out of order. That's what he is. Disrespectful and out of order. And who said that? I'm quoting here our guest today, the Honorable Annette Ferguson, who is a member of Parliament, and we're so privileged to have Annette with us. They enable Annette. They enable with Annette. They enable Andrew Cosmo. They enable Marsha Glasgow. They are not able. Yeah, we're telling you, Debbie Gibbs. They enable. Folks, it takes something from us to produce these podcasts, to produce In the Ring and all of that. And we've said to you that the Below the Belt podcast is an affiliate of the In the Ring program. And so we're asking you guys to make sure you come on board and to partner with us. We know it's a season of giving. Yeah, don't be stingy, Y'all know if you're getting any toys from Santa and so on. Don't be stingy, folks. So come on board and partner with us. We have several platforms available at Cash App. The usual standard is the dollar sign, and our handle is in the ring 592. So it's a dollar sign symbol in the ring 592. And at PayPal, our email address there is in the ring 592 at gmail.com. At PayPal, our email address is in the ring 592 at gmail.com. And then we have the local MMG system, which is similar to PayPal, which is similar to the Cash App. Similar to Cash App, we are available there as well via MMG. Our number there is 627 6963. 627 6963. And we are available on the via MoneyGram and via Western Union. We ain't got a problem with them. They ain't got a problem with us. Folks, so seek the opportunity. Seek the opportunity. Those of you who've never partnered with us before, and those of you who are going to come back and partner with us as well, seek the opportunity. We got so many other programs to roll out, and we're going to be doing that shortly. And we want to see these that we currently have. This is the Below the Belt podcast, or affiliate program in the ring, and then we have the website Credible Sources, all geared to bringing you information rapidly as things happen. And we said to you just yesterday, we're going to continue to improve our website in particular, which is one of our primary focus currently, and populating it with more information for you guys. That being said, seek the opportunity, especially in this season of giving, to come on board and partner with us. I'm certain by now you see what we've been doing with your money. We don't take these issues lightly at all. We need help, and we're asking for your help, and we are going to be responsible stewards of your finances. That being said, folks, I want to welcome the one and only my sister, my friend, my sister in Christ, my friend and my colleague, Annette Ferguson, the Honorable Member of Parliament. Annette, welcome to the discussion this afternoon. Welcome to our podcast. It's your first time below the belt.
Thank you very much, Sherrod. A pleasant afternoon to you and to also your listeners and viewers here at home and across the spectrum. I also want to say how happy and honored I am to appear on your program, Below the Belt. Yes, this is my debut. So I must say thank you, thank you, thank you. And may you continue to do the good work that you have been doing. And I know that come 2022, things will indeed get better for you and for all of us. With that said, let me also take this opportunity to extend season greetings to your listeners, your viewers, and, to let them know that Christmas is all about Christ. The coming of Christ. We
Hmm.
as
Hmm.
Christians, we celebrate his birth. And in the Anglican, they would normally refer to it as Pentecost, which means the coming of Christ. So with that being said, I just want to say once again, season greetings to every Guyanese home here and those abroad. And just remember, it's a time of love, it's a time of giving, it's a time of sharing, and most importantly, it's a time for us to focus on Christ.
Fantastic. And I'm so privileged to have you. Thanks for showing up. Thank you so
You're
much, Annette.
welcome.
Annette, before we get into our discussion, I know that today we are celebrating the 19th death anniversary of former President Hugh Desmond Hoyt. I call him the forgotten president. And there was a wreath
Mhm.
laying ceremony just this morning at the place of the Seven Ponds where our heads of states are laid to rest. And I know that you are from the party in which Mr. Hoyt is from, and I wanted to gather your thoughts on brief recollection. You're a student of history. I think this is one of the better presidents we have had by far. And when you compare, a man like a statesman like you, Desmond Hoyt, to the Jacobats on the other side, there's almost no comparison whatsoever. We are all shocked by his untimely death, but served his country
Mhm.
well and deserves the recognition.
Indeed, Sherrod, you, Desmond Hoyt, was the leader of the People's National Congress Reform, and he was also one of our executive, I think, our second executive president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And being a part of the People's National Congress Reform, he served well. He served with distinction. He was president from 1985 to 1992,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
then after the 1992 elections, he became the leader of the opposition from 1992 up to the time of his death on the 22nd of December
Hmm.
2001.
Hmm.
So, um, 2002, sorry. So today, we honor him for all of his contributions that he would have given during his time of stewardship. But even before him becoming the first executive or the second executive president, sorry, he would have served in many other capacities: home affairs, finance, works, and communication. He also had responsibility for economic development. So his political career, you know, um, has gone far and wide. I recall he was the person who was able to have the ERP, the Economic Recovery
Yep. Yep.
Program, right?
Yep.
It was his his thought, his idea to have the economy recovered when he became the executive president in 1985 to 1992. And we know that many of the accomplishments the PPPC regime would have inherited after 1992 is basically the foundation set out by you, Desmond Hoyt.
Especially
So
the
yeah,
economic foundation, especially
exactly,
the economic
exactly.
foundation. And they come now and they behave as though they have the monopoly on economic thinking and economic stewardship. But that begun our turning, our coming out of, I would say, of the colonial period and dependence.
Mhm.
You know, as you said, as you articulated, begun under that economic recovery program. And again, he understood how to deal with the Jagabats. He understood he had to deal with them. The
Exactly.
1997 election, that contested elections, he understood when they tried to thief that elections there and they want to come and talk about
Mm-hmm.
who is rigorous. He understood them. He understood when the court martial took that coach order to Janet Jagan and she
Injunction.
flew
Yeah.
it over her shoulder. He
Over.
knew what was
Yes.
happening. You understand me? And they now
Exactly.
want to come
Yes.
and lecture us about transparency and good governance and all of that. He was there, lived through all of that. You understand me? He lived through the period when Rignot, Do Not Sing, was what do you call it? Chairman of GCOM, right?
Chairman of GCOM. Yes.
Nobody is
Yes.
consulted and Do Not Sing swearing Janet Jagan, right? Votes are
Yes.
still being counted and Janet Jagan is being sworn in. People understand when we talk about struggle, what we're talking about, Annette, and these
I tell you.
Jagabats, and they have not changed their stripes by any means.
No way, no way. So today, the People's National Congress reform, we observed his 19th death anniversary. So, as you rightfully put, this morning we had a wreath laying ceremony in his death anniversary observance. So, may his soul continue to rest in peace and may he rise in glory. But I know for a fact, like many other Guyanese, his work, his accomplishments, his achievements must never ever go unnoticed.
And that is all we have, At the end of
Yeah.
the day, when we all go, however we go, all we have is the work that we do that must stand the test of time, whether it's the work in your family, building a strong family, whether it's the work in building a strong community, whatever you would have dedicated your time to do, your hands to do, it is only that that remains and is testimony to you being here. And we dare say that Hugh Desmond Hoyt has done so much for this country. And
Mm-hmm.
we every day we keep building on the things that he would have instituted, right? And there's another
Yes.
man who really and truly, if you want to talk about anybody who loved inclusivity, one of his nicknames was Desmond Passad. You understand
Facade.
me? Loved
Indeed.
people across
Indeed.
the ethnic divide in this country. But these Jagabats, that when he see the likes of Dharmlal, what ministers in this country installed, albeit, and it when he see what they have been reduced to, oh God, the man must be rolling in his grave.
Turning in its grave.
That
Yes.
being said,
Mm-hmm.
Annette, last evening, there are some memes we see on social media where they say nobody, colon, and then you can stick in Damlal's post there. Out of nowhere, we won a very decisive victory there in the Court of Appeal yesterday. The court saying that they have jurisdiction to hear elections petition 99. Well, who tell them to say so? Huh? Who tell them to say so? This Jagabat, this hypocrite, huh? This Philistine, Nigel Dharamlall, come out and cussing down the justices there. You know what is startling and what is hypocritical and what is duplicitous is the fact that quite recently, well, not recently, but I remember when Mr. Harmon had offered some thoughts on the quality of one of the cases and the quality of the one of the judgments. Oh, they cussed him down, right? And he
Yes.
came nothing close, not even the shadow of what Darmlal wants to say about these ladies here. It's just mind-boggling, the depths of the privity to which he wanted to sink there, impugning the character of Chancellor of the Judiciary, Yolette Cummins, and Justice Don Gregory Barnes there. What, as you rightfully said in a piece I'm gonna talk about in just a second, so disrespectful, disrespectful and out of order were your words on it.
Yes, and I have no apologies to what I would have posted last evening after reading what was actually posted by a sitting installed minister of government. And, to lash out at the justices in this form is unbecoming of a sitting minister of government. Um, Sherrod, you would recall what would have led to this to us having election petitions before the courts here
Mm-hmm.
in Guyana.
Talk to us.
We know that after the March 2nd, 2020 elections, we went to a national recount where the entire world, not only Guyana, saw exactly what came out from those boxes. Dead people voted. Migrants who weren't here on the 2nd of March, votes were casted for them. Missing statutory documents such as the voters list and all manner of things were found in those boxes. Now, after the declaration in on August the 2nd, 2020, we were told to take our claims by way of an election petition.
Mm-hmm.
And this is
Mm-hmm.
what we did. So we had petitions
Again, in
88
obedience
and
to the law.
99. Exactly. So we followed the law. So we knew that the petitions were filed, and we know that they were, just a small fraction of what took place in petition 99 with regards to service. We know that the Chief Justice handed down her judgment on the 26th of April 2021. And we use the tiers of the justice system. So from the High Court, we made our appeal at the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal made their decision yesterday that yes, they do have jurisdiction to hear the matter. And we know that it was a majority 2-1. Now, this jagabat, as you would refer to them, to come out and lash out to these well professional, groomed women,
Yep.
both
Yep.
Justices Gregory Barnes and also Justice Unit Cummins, to say that they should be defrocked. Why they should be defrocked? Because of them standing on the right side of the law.
Yep.
We know
Yep.
that petition 99 is the real petition that would that have all the evidence showing what exactly transpired after the national recount. And because of these women handing down their decisions to say, well, look, yes, we do have the Court of Appeal do have the right or the jurisdiction to hear this petition. Why is it that it was thrown out in from the High Court? Let the petitions be heard. Let the petitions be heard. Is there something to hide? The
Mm-hmm.
PPP
Mm-hmm.
is fully aware. They're fully aware what they did,
Correct.
what was done,
Yep. Yep.
and we saw it through the ballot boxes during the national recount. And Guyanese need answers as to
Yep.
what really transpired.
Yep.
And only petition 99 can give us the true answers and to say to the entire world, including the ABCDE countries here, who are the real riggers? Who
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
the real
Yep.
riggers?
Who are the real
You
sanctimonious gangsters?
exactly. So I am deeply upset of Dharamlal's action and attitude. And Sherrod, though we're speaking about what transpired at the level of the Court of Appeal yesterday, we also need to let Guyanese know the nature of this Jagabat,
Mm-hmm.
even his performance in the National Assembly is poor as
Leaves
a
much to be
sitting.
desired.
Exactly. Just last week, when we were considering financial papers, and it was it was us examining the ministry that he has responsibility for, and I think a lot of monies were passed for security services.
Mm-hmm.
And you heard the kind of responses given by this Jagabat.
As you rightfully
You
said,
you really want to,
disrespectful and
yeah, you really
out
want
of
to
order.
know, yeah, you really want to know if this guy is in his right
Mm-hmm.
mind, if he's in his
Mm-hmm.
right sense to say to the nation in the National Assembly, oh, we got to get these monies because elements from the APNU AFC would have burned down
Yeah.
this place and that place.
And the
How
speaker says nothing.
disrespectful.
The speaker says nothing.
Nothing. And it's
Yep.
time for that Mr. Dharamlal must be called out. Must be called out. And we must be able to move something in the National Assembly to have him removed as a sitting member of the National Assembly
Mm-hmm.
and also a minister of government, albeit installed. But we know who we are dealing with,
Yep.
Sherrod.
Yep.
A bunch of don't care people,
Yep.
a bunch of
Yep.
disrespectful people, a bunch of people who are lawless and have no regard for the laws of this nation.
And then these are the people who going want to come and lecture us about transparency, about good governance, about rule of law. Right? These are the people. But Annette, you talked about this petition 99, the one that they frightened so much. Both are frightened, but this is the one that gives them belly work daily. This petition, you said, talks about what transpired in that election. It talks about missing certificates of employment. This is when you don't have your ID card, and oh, sorry, when you going someplace else to vote besides where you are living and working. You might be
Exactly.
working in Georgetown, but you have to go someplace else to vote because you don't live in Georgetown, right? You had your missing certificates of employment. You got dead people who voted. Then when we talk about that in the High Court, then when we talk about it in the Court of Appeal, migrants who voted. You see why they want to kick out some migrants and they want to allow others by the thousands? Migrants who voted, people who had no ID card but voted. All of that is contained in Petition 99. Missing oaths of identity, unverified oaths due to missing poll books, unstamped ballots, missing poll books, hundreds of poll books gone missing, missing
Ex-
official list of electors.
yes, you're rightfully, as you know, you rightfully put. But Sherrod, what really hurts me sometimes is when these people can come out and preach about democracy.
They don't come out, they scheming out.
About democracy. They're the
Mm-hmm.
democratic elected government.
Mm-hmm.
They're this, they're following the rules, they're following the laws. And we have seen over this past 16, 17 months who the real
Yeah.
PPP is,
Yeah. And the people seeing too.
who they are. You understand me? And it's not us as politicians who've seen them for who they are, but the entire Guyana, the entire world. But you know what? The silence of guardians of democracy
Mm-hmm.
is deafening.
Oh,
The
Father.
silence of the ABCE
Oh, they must see shame on it.
countries is deafening. The silence of the private sector commission deafening. But you know what? Right thinking Guyanese in society, they've now, their eyes have now opened wide
Oh, you got that right.
to see. Yeah, they've now opened their eyes. They've now found their real vision. They've now found their real understanding, right? To see who these people are. But you know what? Since Dharamlal made these utterances for these goodly women,
Mm-hmm.
these excellent professional women to be defrocked or to be dismissed from the judiciary because of them upholding the laws, them upholding the rules of the court. You haven't heard the ABC coming out to condemn this sitting installed minister. You haven't heard even the installed president. He hasn't publicly upbraided Dharamlal for his comment because you know what? This is what the government, this is what they are, they, this is what they believe in.
Yep. Yep.
So once the court or anything doesn't go in their favor,
Yep.
right, they come out and they lash out. They lash out. But you know what? I know that those two women, those two justices, they're strong women and they will not be buckled. They should not be buckled, but continue to uphold the constitution of this country. And I want to publicly applaud them. They must not bow to political masters and political pressure.
And,
So you haven't heard from none of these institutions
shocking in itself.
who all preached about the return of democracy. But the officers of the court, when the officers of the court act in the way they ought to act, and you have politicians lashing out of them, the silence of these institutions.
Yeah, and not just politicians.
worrying.
No, Dharamlal is part of the executives, right? And you talk about separation of the doctrine of separation of powers, the executive not encroaching on what the judiciary is doing, and the judiciary not encroaching on what the executive is doing, and all of that. All of that are the guardrails of democracy. In this statement on social media, Annette, you said that that Justices Yolette Cummins and Don Gregory Barnes,
Gregory.
handed down their decisions that the Court of Appeal has jurisdiction to hear the Appeal 99. And while Justice Rishi Prasad did not provide an opinion as his two colleagues, Mr. Dharamlal, in your words, Mr. Dharamlal took to social media platform publicly stating that Justices Cummins and Barnes should be defrocked. Whatever truth is to prevail, the PPPC, in their usual manner, will take the first jump to condemn the messenger. You go on to state, now Mr. Dharamlal should be reminded that there's a clear separation of powers between state and judiciary, and both arms are independent. He should also be reminded that the justices are professional law-abiding officers of the judiciary and should not be subject to political pressure or ridicule. He seemed to want to bring a kind of pressure representing the PPP to get a certain kind of outcome on it.
Well, you see, yes, what you have read there, or those words were exactly quoted by me. And if we're to back up a bit, Sherrod, after the March 2nd, 2020 elections, we saw exactly what took place. On the 5th of March, Hollindar moved an injunction against GCOM from declaring the March 2nd elections.
Yep.
And we had a series of court battles way up to the CCJ, from the High Court way up to the CCJ. So the kind of actions, the kind of attitude we saw over those 5 months, right, by the People's Progressive Party Civic, in order to ensure that the outcome of the court is favorable to them, it seemed to me, and I am of the belief, this is the same attitude, the same actions they would want. Right? But, as I said before, the justices, they have acted in the right way. And if the petitions are to be heard, let them be heard. Because Guyanese, whether home here and abroad, they need the truth to be told. What transpired, because there are a number of unanswered questions. So with Dharamlal now coming out, along with I think Mr. Nandalal too, that the judges, they erred. Every time, as I said before, things are not favorable to them, decisions are not favorable to them, they take first jump to apply pressure on the court so that the decisions by the justices can become favorable to them. But it will not happen where petition 99 is concerned,
Yep.
because Guyanese need to know the truth where when it comes to the March 2nd general and regional elections of 2020.
Yep, yep. Folks who are now joining us, we're talking today with the Honourable Member of Parliament, Annette Ferguson, and we're talking about this Chagabat Nigel Dharamlall shocking attack on judicial independence, how disrespectful and out of order it was. Folks, you're joining the podcast, share, 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 so that other persons can benefit from the information we're discussing here. And I'm happy you took us back to that Holodar case. That Riaz Holodar case. Riaz Holodar was the driver for Adil Nandalal. Was he family? Was his
Yes.
driver? He put his driver to bring that case to halt the declaration process. And why I came back to it, because that was what prevented us from declaring Granger as president, right? And the Chief
Exactly.
Justice on it, the Chief Justice said she asked him numerous times if he wanted to proceed with the matter. He said yes, he has the evidence of rigging and
Hmm.
all kinds of foolishness. And then the day before the Chief Justice handed down her judgment, he withdrew the case. Well, she
Yeah,
cussed left, right, and center, telling him he wasted the time
wasted
of
the
the court.
court's time. Exactly.
Right. So they,
Exactly.
they, they, they cast all of these aspersions about rigging. Look how many cases they have brought against Mingo, Lowenfield, Myers, and the whole
And
host
to
of other
date,
folks to date,
and to date,
eh?
and to
Languishing in the
date,
courts.
no evidence.
No evidence
Exactly.
whatsoever. No evidence whatsoever. These are women, as you
Because
said. Go right ahead at it. Jump in there.
you know why they don't have the evidence? They don't have the evidence because the evidence, Sharad, is what is revealed in petition 99.
Mm-hmm.
What is revealed in petition 99? So 15 months or 17 months after the August 2nd declaration,
Mm-hmm.
you've brought cases upon cases before against Lowenfield, Mayors,
Hetzberger.
Mingo,
Mingo. Yep.
Hetzberger,
Yep.
Valda
Yep.
Lawrence, Carol Smith Joseph,
Mm-hmm.
and to date, there is nothing because they have nothing to prove.
Yep.
But we found, what we found during those 33 days at the national recount, what was revealed to the entire world of all who voted, the dead people, the numbers of migrants who voted. Petition 99, that's where the evidence lies.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why they don't want the petition to go forward, and they want to continue to
Yep.
cloud the minds
Yep.
of Guyanese that, well,
Yep.
look, it is not the PPP who were the riggers. It is these people that we have before the
Yep.
courts who are the real riggers.
Yep.
And Sherrod, we knew exactly, and we have to remind our viewers and listeners where the epicenter of the fraud took place on the lower east coast of
Yep.
Demerara.
Yep. Yep. In village after village that traditionally vote PPP, none of the statutory documents could be found in the ballot boxes. And we who rig in, believe it or not, this is their thought process. We who rig an election in all of the villages that favor APNU AFC, all the statutory documents, they're in the ballot boxes. But in those that
Exactly.
favor the PPP, you understand me? That actually give the PPP the higher vote count. Those villages, village after village, no statutory document. How could it be coincidental that every village on the East Coast in 47 ballot boxes, village after village, polling station after polling station, those presiding officers forgot, and not only forgot to put the statutory documents in the ballot box, right? Because those documents weren't dispatched to ZCOM subsequently, the documents just disappear. Poof! They've
Yeah.
disappeared. And they got the nerve and temerity to call people riggers. And when these are the real sanctimonious gangsters, I want to dial back to some of the stuff you had in this statement, because to me it's so potent that people understand what we're talking about and what we're discussing. You mentioned in this statement that Rishi Prasad, Justice Rishi Prasad, did not provide an opinion as to his own thoughts on how the case should have been judged. He did not provide a dissenting judgment, to be more legal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a school of thought out there that they want to make Justice Rishi Prasad Chief Justice, and that is why they're not confirming the substantive Chief Justice. Harman told them he's ready whenever they are to confirm Auntie Roxanne George Wiltshire, Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire, and Yonette Cummins as the Chancellor. He's ready, but they don't want that, so they're running out the clock on their service. Perhaps going to wait, if they're wrong so long, until they retire and then put in their own people. We know they're not going to wrong so long. There's a school of thought out there that says they want to make Justice Rishi Prasad Chief Justice. Why? Because they want to control the courts. Because of course we know what we know.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, in this statement you mentioned, and you called him out on it. You said, "Let me remind you, Mr. Dharmlal, that these distinguished justices are role models, because the other one, the little boy Charles Ramson, he had proffered to this entire country." Just like how Luncheon said you're not a black person you can appoint as a diplomat, he proffered that we ain't got no black role models. So I'm happy you took the time to point out to the little boy Ramson and point out to this Jagabat, I call it baby Jagabat Dharmlal. You understand me? That
Mm-hmm.
we have role models in these justices and young women, and I dare say young men look up to them as role
Yes.
models in the interest, sorry, with an interest and passion
Interest.
to join the
Mm-hmm.
noble fraternity. Talk to us about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sherrod, we know that a few weeks ago, if I may start with that one, that Charles Ramson appeared on a national radio program on HJ 94.1 FM, and where he tried bringing down the Afro Guyanese, more so young people, saying that young people don't have role models, whether in their communities and all manner of thing. Well, I at that time take I did lash out at Ramson and call him out for that statement, because he is he cannot be the judge, or shouldn't judge, Afro Guyanese.
Mm-hmm.
It is not him who got to make that call. I know who my role models are, right? And I reminded him who they are, right? And I know many other Afro Guyanese. They too have role models, whether in their family, in their communities, in the churches. We know where they exist. So you cannot say to the black community that we don't have role models. And yes, I did refer to my statement last evening that both Justices Cummins and Gregory Barnes, they are role models, because many young people, if you were to take a survey in the high schools or in communities, and you ask them, what would you like to be when you grow up? What would be your life career?
Mm-hmm.
Most majority would say, I would like to become a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have seen many young people who passed through, who have been admitted to the bar earlier this year. They would give their testimonies why they would have chosen law as a first option. And if you're to look across the judiciary, the makeup, and a number of young black Guyanese who have joined this fraternity because they see others like Justice Barnes, Justice Cummins, Justice George, even at the level of the magistracy, they see people like themselves. So they're following that pathway, in that footpath. So the other point I made, yes, I did call out Rishi Prasad. Why, Sherrod? If you look at all of the cases that went, more so the election cases that went before the Court of Appeal, you would see, you would see the side that Justice Prashad would normally take.
Mm-hmm.
When the evidence is glaring before his eyes, when the submissions, excellent submissions, whether by Roysdale Ford, Mr. Jeremy, their senior counsel Jeremy, out of Trinidad and Tobago, and we had renowned lawyers who represented us not only home here, but whether from the Caribbean, who presented facts, and we would have seen the line that Rishi Prasad took. So yesterday was no difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was no difference. We
True.
saw exactly the line that he took yesterday. But as I said then, and I said earlier on this program, I applaud Justices Gregory Barnes and Yonette Cummins for doing the honorable thing. They look at what was presented by both parties, and based on what the law of Guyana speak to or allowed for, that is how they were able to make their decision. So you cannot, it would be unfair for one to say that these justices would have made their decisions because of probably, I don't know, because they may have some kind of relationship with the APN or whatever the case may be. No, no one should say that. It was, their decisions were based on pure law, what the law says. Their decisions were also based on what was presented to them. And I want to take this opportunity and publicly congratulate Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford
Mm-hmm.
for the sterling work that he
Correct.
and his team they have been doing. And kudos must be given to him. Because it's not easy, Sherrod. You know you gotta find the appropriate cases, right? When you're
Correct.
making your
Lots of work.
submission.
Lots of work.
And
Lots of
lots of
deep
work. The
reasoning. Yep.
research, the research is very, very intense. And I just want to publicly congratulate him and Jeremy out of Trinidad and all the others who worked behind the scene. So it is unfair for what Mr. Dharamlall would have done. But I stand by my word. I stand by my position that he's out of order and he's
Yep.
disrespectful, more so to women. Because if you look at it,
Endorsed.
two women who would have made their decisions.
He
And
ain't
they
like
have
women, you
no
know. He ain't like
regard,
women. We got a lot of information
no,
about him. He ain't
yes,
like women.
no
Hmm.
regards where women are concerned.
Hmm.
But if it went in their favor yesterday, if those very judges would have made their decisions favorable to the People's Progressive Party civic regime, oh my, they would have glorified
Mm-hmm.
them. They
Mm-hmm.
would have praised
Yep.
them. But
Yep.
today, last night, you're cursing them that they should be dismissed. Dismissed for what? Sherrod, dismissed for what?
Mm-hmm.
Dismissed because
The
they
judgment's
would have
not to his liking.
acted because they would have acted in conformity with the Constitution of
Dismissed
this
because they
nation.
can't buy them.
Dismissed because they haven't made the decisions in favorable of the People's Progressive Party Civic. But Sherrod, I will say again, Guyanese are still hurting
Yep.
because we saw, the
Yep. Yep.
entire world saw what came out of those boxes,
And we need closure on
participating
these
boxes,
cases.
and we need closure to
Yep.
them.
Yep. Yep.
Because if we don't get closure to them, Sherrod, they will continue to label you and I as riggers,
Yep.
as they have been doing since the 12th Parliament commenced.
And we will
Every
continue to
time they
label them
stand,
as installed and
exactly,
illegal.
every time they stand to speak, they stand to make a presentation, whether in the National Assembly or at some public forum, they refer to us as riggers. Well, well, I want petition 99 to be heard so that we, Sherrod, you and I,
Mm-hmm.
along with
Mm-hmm.
the others in the AFC, APNU,
Mm-hmm.
we can be vindicated.
Yeah, and we will be
Because we
vindicated.
know and we will be vindicated because Guyanese, we are not stupid. They're not stupid. So we want closure to it.
Yep. And it, the last thing I want to talk about from your statement is I'm happy how you're walking the chest, as we say colloquially. You're walking the chest in this part here. You says Mr. Dharamlall has been a failed minister since his regime came to office by illegitimate means. Rather than focus his attention on developing policies and programs to improve the lives of Guyanese, he presents himself and makes loose comments on things not under his responsibility. Mr. Dharamlall should be the one to be dismissed and not his call against the justices, since they are performing their functions and getting the job done. And let we understand in politics, if nothing else, loose lips sink ships. But like Dharamlall learned this thing yet? Hmm? Baby Jagabat?
No, he hasn't learned. I'm right because if you're to look at his performances
More
over the
confusion
last
and progress.
15 months, over the last 15 months, he has nothing to share or to show
Mm-hmm.
because look at what is happening at the level of his ministry. All the projects, roads doing, and it lasting for a long time. What new has he brought to the National Assembly? What new policies have we seen coming out from the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development? He has the responsibility for ensuring that local government is called. But you know what? Several weeks ago, Sherrod and viewers, listeners, they took a position to say that local government elections cannot and will not be held as it is constitutionally due because of XY reasons. But we know across this nation, since he came into government by installed means, we have seen him imposing himself at the level of the NDCs
Oh, yes.
and the municipalities.
We got a long
You
list here.
understand me? Good. So I am right to say that he should be the one to be dismissed because his performance is minimum. It is minimum. And Guyanese deserve better. They inherited from us a well functioning local government ministry. Well, it was then Ministry of Communities. So rather than building on what we left, they're destroying. They're destroying and cannot show any sort of improvement or anything differently from the APNU AFC government. So for me, it is time for Dharamlall to go.
Yep. Yep. And as we say here, the wicked stink and dirty. And we endorse what you have said. It is time for them to go. No two ways about it. That's what we want. They must go. Right? And you know what we're seeing is this trend of the attacks on the judiciary, which started quite recently with the pronouncement of this law lecturer from, I think it's from UWI Jamaica, right? Ronnie Yearwood, and senior political science lecturer Cynthia Barrows Giles. And while Ronnie may be forgiven for his premature comments,
Mhm.
Cynthia Barrow Giles
Yes, we
was
will.
one of
Mhm.
them who was here with the CARICOM scrutinizing team.
Indeed.
She did a whole
Hmm.
report looking at 18% of the ballot boxes.
Reasonable.
She did
Reasonable.
a report concerning 100% of the process. And fair enough, they submitted their report to CARICOM, right? We know how that went. She said the elections were reasonably credible along with her colleagues. And then to come back and to wade into the court of appeal to say, in your impression, some of the decisions coming out of the court looks questionable. You understand me? It's to do your whole team a disservice, right?
Exactly.
Again, you want to be judge, jury, and executioner, right? If you want a job as a court of appeal justice, why don't you take it, Cynthia Barrow Giles and Nigel Dharamlall? And maybe y'all could do better.
Indeed.
But
Indeed.
here are these vagabonds criticizing, and you would think a man like Anil Nandilal, who claims to be the custodian of the Constitution, would stand up against foreigners speaking ill about our judicial system. You can't go to Jamaica. I don't think he could go to Jamaica and talk about the quality of their judgments, right or wrong, or Barbados. They would stone us. But you allow
Exactly.
foreigners, the way we allowing foreigners to come in, treat me anyhow in your own country, yeah, and then you are siding with them. So there's where this trend is, and the PPP and people like Anil and Nandalal encouraging it, and that is where Darmlal getting this gumption from.
Well, Cheryl, what is happening? They have allowed the
Great
likes
ahead of
of
it.
foreigners, the likes of those persons from other jurisdiction to channel, their success or their success in one direction. So if they, which would more or less apply pressure to the judicial system in this country so that they can act in the PPPC's favor. As I said
Mm-hmm.
before, Sherrod, we saw exactly all the court cases post 2020, March 2020 elections. The minute the Court of Appeal, whether at the level of the Court of Appeal or the High Court, to make decision or to hand down a decision or judgment,
Mm-hmm.
we notice this
Bacchanal.
body coming out to speak, this body coming out to make a pronouncement. Oh, if you do not follow this, that, this is the likely consequences. Your visa might be revoked and all manner of things. So, by virtue of them realizing that, well, look, this is the direction that the justices will make their judgment or give their judgment, which might be favorable to the then coalition government, we got to lash them back so that at least they could come swing 360 degrees backwards to ensure that the decisions are now skewed in a way which would be favorable to our opponents. And for Cynthia and others to come out and to lash out at our judges at the level of the Court of Appeal, it is really unfortunate. They were here. They spent days at the Artichoke Conference Center, and they of themselves saw what came out of some of those boxes.
Yep.
And to provide us with a report which say 18% credible or reasonable, what what a
What a
coincidence.
travesty. And interestingly enough, and that very report called for sweeping changes at GCOM. We ain't see it yet.
Exactly. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it because you know why? And we saw exactly what played out
Oh, yes.
at the hiring of
The
the
puppetry.
CEO.
Oh, yes.
You understand me? The hiring of the CEO. So despite the reports by the CARICOM officials and also the EU personnel to ensure that you have electoral reform at the left, starting with GCOM, how officers are to be employed. We haven't seen that yet.
MP Ferguson,
But
the same way the Janet Jackson threw the court order over her shoulder, the injunction over her shoulder, the same way the PP throw Cynthia Burrows, guys. They report over the shoulder. They get time with
yes,
them. They want to
no,
rig the
no
system
time.
to suit them, to keep them in
Exactly,
office illegally.
exactly. And we know exactly as you said, to rig the elections to keep them in office. We know exactly what played out in 2006,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where the AFC,
Mm-hmm. Gokul Buru,
the
name
a
calling.
seat was taken from the AFC
Mm-hmm.
to give to the PPP in in
Mm-hmm.
2006. You had Samuel Hines squatting for 5 years.
The real
Who was the
riggers.
C? Who was the CEO? Who
Mm-hmm.
was the CEO? Not Kit Lowenfield.
Mm-hmm.
It was Gukul Budu. In 2011, we saw what played out. You understand me? To give the PPP, the majority, they tried. Gukul Budu tried fiddling with figures from AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Lowenfield wasn't this chief executive officer. It was Gokul Budu. In 2015, again, what they tried with installing or inserting fake statement of polls.
Yep. Yep.
Keith
Yep. Yep.
Lowenfield
Yep.
wasn't the
Yep.
chief executive officer. It was Gokul Budu. So I want Guyanese and our viewers and listeners to understand that when the PPP pointing one finger, you got four pointing back at them. Four pointing back at them. And we know who the real riggers are.
Yep.
Because 2015, 2011, and 2006
Yep.
showed us the many attempts that were made to ensure the People's Progressive Party Civic remain in government.
Yep. Yep.
So by virtue of them supporting Mr. Vishnu Prasad as the new chief executive officer, the old cards gonna play again. But we will be vigilant. Whether a snap elections is called in another 2 years' time, and he still sits there as the CEO of GCOM, we in the opposition, with our commissioners and the political parties, we will be vigilant. And we would have sent the warning early o'clock that we will not go to any elections, whether local government, regional and general elections, we will not go to elections with that list because
Correct.
that list got trouble.
Correct is right. Correct is right. Correct is right. And we've gone past our program time a little bit, and I wanna thank you for spending this time with us. I know you're a busy woman. I don't want to detain you longer than is absolutely necessary. And I want to thank you for such a strong rebuke to this jagabat Nigel Dharamlall as he sought to attack the judiciary in this most disrespectful and out of order manner, as you so elegantly stated in that post on social media. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Member of Parliament, the Honorable Annette Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Sherrod, for having me on your program. I do look forward to, you know, reappearing sometime
Definitely,
in the near
definitely. We have
future.
to.
And also, yes, and I also want to thank your listeners and viewers for staying on to hear what we had to share here this afternoon. That being said, may God continuous blessings be with you, and may He continue to bless our beautiful nation, Guyana, and our people. And once again, season greetings to all Guyana, to all Guyanese, and to those living abroad. Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Annette. Thanks for coming through. Awesome. Guys, that's our program. That's our program. Kush Chaube, Sheena Hazel, Brenda Bailey, Sheena Hazel, Andrew Cuthbert. I called Sheena about 10 times. Diane Graves Zanley. Good to see each and every one of you. Tasha Silat, Folks, before you go, ensure you share the live stream for us. We want to see those emojis as well. Good to have had so many of you on the live stream today. Thanks for spending your lunch hour with us. Folks, who vex. Who vex lose, we below the belt. Come on board and partner with us and enable us to do more of these programs. We're an affiliate of In the Ring program, so all of their platforms are utilized by us as well. If you guys have the Cash App, you're somewhere around the world where Cash App is used, we ask you guys to partner with us for as little as $5 per month, 10, 15, 20. Folks, help us to keep moving, help us to keep growing, help us to keep expanding, help us to keep taking on the jagabats. Help us, folks. At Cash App, it's the dollar sign in the ring 592. It's the dollar symbol in the ring 592. That's the Cash App handle is the dollar sign in the ring 592. At PayPal, our email address is in the ring 592 at gmail.com. At PayPal, our email address is in the ring 592 at gmail.com. We're also available via the MMG system. That's the local Cash App. Our number there is 627-6963. 627-6963. And we can be had via Western Union as well, via MoneyGram. We ain't got a problem with them. They ain't got a problem with we. Shout out to all the folks down at MoneyGram and Western Union. Respect and manners. Have a great season now. That's our program for today. Good to see you, Donna David. Good to see you, Debbie Campbell and Stan Bourne and Alexis Arthur. Good to see you, Beverly Sumner and Marsha Glasgow, Shauna Grant, all you beautiful, fantastic folks. We're going to see you back right here tonight in the ring. We're going to be in the ring, folks, at 8 this evening. We got a special guest coming by. You're going to want to come by. Thanks to all of you for joining us for this discussion on the shocking attack by Nigel Dharamlall on the judiciary. Disrespectful and out of flipping order. Who vex? Who vex lose? Thanks for joining Below the Belt. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. Stay safe.